Hi, I am an anonymous sex and love addict, and originally I was going to use this channel to share lots of people's stories, but I received word that Los Angeles Intergroup is working on delivering podcasts already, so I've decided that I think I'm just going to use this channel to share my thoughts on my experiences and things of that nature. So, I recently read a book called Blue Like Jazz, and it's about Christian spirituality. So, where to start? I originally had an account with one of those DVD delivering websites, and I don't know how, but this Blue Like Jazz movie, I guess, got sent to me, and I received it and was like, I don't know what to do with this movie. Like, I don't know what this is about. And I had kind of stopped watching movies so much anymore. And I just had this movie sitting around for like 2 years. And I never watched it. And I don't even know why I had it. I mean, I must have added it to my queue at some point or something. And so I sent it back, and within the month that I had sent it back, I was walking around town. I was just kind of feeling down. I had just ended my first sober relationship and decided that it wasn't right for me to be friends with any of my exes. So I was just feeling kind of low, and I'd been hanging out with people that just like to drink and smoke, and that's just not my scene. So I decided I'm going to leave. I'm going to go for a walk. And I was walking past a free library. I don't know if you know what those are, but they're basically just little standing libraries that can hold like maybe 20 books in them. And that concept, the idea is take a book, leave a book. And anyways, I walked past and I reached in and I grabbed a book and I pulled it out, and it was Blue Like Jazz, and I had just sent the DVD back. And I was like, okay, like this must be God. This must be higher power sending me this message for some reason. And then I still didn't read it for a while. I continued to walk. I ended up at some free concert at the park, which was really cool. I didn't know that was happening. Time goes by and I'm trying to tidy my surroundings. I started the money program, and part of that is like decluttering your life and trusting in the abundance of the universe. So I'm also getting ready to move. There's a lot of things happening in my life, and so I was decluttering my books, and part of me was like, I don't need this book. I'm never going to read it. I keep saying that I'm going to read it, and I don't. And then I was like, or I could just start reading it right now. And so I started reading it, and it has been quite the experience. I loved it, and I also got really angry with it. So like I said, this book was about Christian spirituality, and I didn't realize that I have a lot of prejudice against Christianity. So I'd be reading this book and I'd be really, really into it. I'd be getting everything that they're saying, and then all of a sudden the author would mention Jesus, and I would just get ripped out of the experience and just be like, oh, Jesus isn't real the way that you think that Jesus is real. And I had all these ideas, and I thought I was right. And I just said, you know what, God, please help me be willing to see this. Like, set aside all my ideas of what I think I know about Christianity and what I think I know about Jesus and what I think I know about you, so that I can have a new experience. And And I had a new experience. I had an experience with Jesus, which was later on down the road after I had already finished the book. And as I was going through it, I kind of went through this thing where I started, I was just angry about the concept of Jesus and how I have to believe that Jesus is the Son of God if my soul is going to be saved here on earth. And then I realized like Jesus was the Son of God, but not, I realized it in a new way. I realized it like Jesus is the Son of God the same way that I am a child of God. Like Jesus is a child of God. And the only difference between me and Jesus is that Jesus was enlightened about being a child of God. And I still think that's true, and some of my other experiences with this was that before I started reading Blue Like Jazz, I had been reading this book called Awakening Shakti, and it's like Hinduism and awakening your inner goddesses. And there is a goddess Lakshmi, and I still don't know that much about her, but she's the goddess of abundance and wealth and all that kind of stuff. And I had been kind of praying to her a little bit, and part of the ritual with praying to Lakshmi or worshiping Lakshmi is to donate to a charity. And I was like, why don't I do that more? I want to be this good person. I want to make the world a better place, but all I do is like worry about my money and how I'm going to spend it and where it's going to go, and is it going to get me returns, and am I going to be okay? And I live in that state of fear, and that state of fear has me going to obsession and fantasy to run away from the feelings, So anyways, I don't want to be in obsession and fantasy, so and I want to give back to the world, and I also wanted to see like how God was going to gift me. I shared that in a meeting the other night. Like it started in this way that I wanted to see how God was going to gift me, and so I started donating to charity, and I was reading this book, and Blue Like Jazz now. I was reading Blue Like Jazz, and it talks about the selfishness that I so often encounter in my own life. And it was really beautiful because one of the lines in there, and I'm going to paraphrase and I'm probably going to get it a little bit wrong, but it's just like, I just want to be a good person, but I'm not any good at it. And I can't be a good person without God's help. And so I started trying to bring God into me being a good person. And then I kept reading this book, and the author did this thing with some friends where they made a confession booth at this like kind of rave party thing. And these students came in, and they're like, what, so I have to confess my sins to you? And instead what these people did just reminded me of the amends process. It was really cool. Instead, they said where they were wrong, and they talked about how Jesus says that you need to feed the poor and help the sick and devote your life to doing that kind of work. And they confessed about how they say that they're a follower of Jesus and that they spread Jesus' love and all this, and that they don't even do those things. And I was like, wow, Jesus or no Jesus, like I say I want to be a better person. I say I want to be giving. I want my soul to be free. I want to be happy, joyous, and free, like the promises of the program. And yet I'm so worried, sick about how to spend my time, and I don't ever volunteer because I'm so worried that I'm not going to want to do it in a week from now, and all of this stuff. And I'm kind of having these experiences, and one of these nights I open up the big book and I just start reading a page, someone's story. And in the big book she talks about the woman's story. I don't remember what story it is now, but she talks about how she used to never take opportunities to volunteer because she wouldn't know how she would be feeling in a week from then. And I feel like that person. Like, I can't commit to showing up somewhere every Tuesday morning because I'm so afraid that it's gonna hinder my life in some way to do that. And I just don't want to live in that space anymore. I want to give freely. And it turned into this thing where I don't want to give or donate or whatever so that I can get something back. Like, I just want to give. I mean, maybe so that I can be happy, joyous, and free, but I want to give to help contribute to the world. I want to volunteer so that I don't have to live in this bondage of self anymore, and this book helped me reach that. And then, I kept reading, and this person talks about how he believes that if you don't learn to believe that Jesus is the Son of God and accept that, then your soul, not that you're going to go to hell, he doesn't think that, but he thinks like your soul is just going to feel kind of tortured. And I was mad. I was angry. I was angry at religion because so many religions spread this idea, and I was just angry, and I was like, I can believe that Jesus is the Son of God. I had this experience. I was laying in bed, and I had been praying for 40 minutes because I'm going through this thing where I like someone and I'm not dating right now, and I don't know that they're appropriate, but I couldn't get them out of my head. And so I just started praying. I started praying and praying that God is infinite love, and like, I'm not, like, my love life isn't my business, it's God's business. My life isn't my business, it's God's business. And I was just praying, and I started singing because, I couldn't just say words anymore. I started singing them, and then I finally laid down. I was praying for like 30 or 40 minutes, and I laid in my bed, and I just felt sad, and I felt angry, and I told I guess God, higher power, Jesus, whatever it was, I was just like, Jesus, like, I want to believe in you. I want to believe that you're the Son of God. I believe that you are the Son of God the same way I am the daughter of God and the Son of God. Like, I am the child of God. You are the child of God. We are all God's children. And I just believe that you realize that the same way Buddha did, and the same way, that Gandhi did, and Mother Teresa, and all of that. Like, I believe that you were enlightened and you saw how you were the child of God. But I am angry. I am just so angry with religion for saying that good people can't feel spiritually well just because they don't think the same way that Christians or Catholics or whatever think. Like, I'm angry about that. And I cried, and then I just felt better, and I was like, oh my God, I had a Jesus experience. Like, how cool is that? Like, I still don't think I'm Christian or Catholic or, whatever the religions that believe in Jesus as more than a kind of historical figure. Like, I don't think that I'm Christian, but it was cool. Like, I had my own little experience with Jesus as a result of this book, and parts of this book seemed sexist to me, and I just kind of tried to let that go. And this book also talked about accepting God's love like accepting the love of higher power, and how when you're not able to accept love, that you're actually not humble enough to accept God's grace. And that really spoke to me, because so many times I want to like fight off people's compliments, and the truth is, when I fight off people's compliments, I'm still living in self-will, because I'm not accepting what God is doing in my life. At least that's how, that's my opinion. Maybe I'm going to make some people angry with this, I don't know. Anyways, it's just my opinion. And so, I was thinking about that, and I think I had just finished reading the book, and I've been thinking about that a lot. And I went to the beach where I spread my mom's ashes, and I hadn't been there in a while since we spread her ashes. She died in 2012. And I think we spread her ashes in 2013 or something. Anyways, so I went to the beach, and I wrote an amends letter, which I'd been waiting to do for when I went to the beach again. And this book kind of opened my eyes. It wasn't just this book, but it was also The Golden Key by Emmett Fox. That definitely had a lot to do with this experience that I'm about to describe. But this book, Blue Like Jazz, also talked about how the only way to make a difference in someone's life is to love them. And the only way that they make real change in their life is to feel your acceptance and your love. And when they feel your acceptance and your love, they change just by nature of being around that love and acceptance. When they feel that they can finally be loved and accepted for exactly where they are, they then grow and become a different person that is closer to what God has in plan for them and in store for them. Anyways, so I'm making this amends to my mom, and I'm just, I pray first, and I just say, God, like, please help me say the words that you have for me to give to my mom, and please let me just live in your truth. Like, God, you are truth, and I want to channel that truth in this letter. And I start writing it, and I just tell my mom, like, I was so mean to you, and I just punished you for things that you couldn't undo. Like, I just punished you for things that had already happened that you couldn't go back in the past and change. And I was mean to you, and the truth is, like, I just didn't know how to love you, Mom. Like, I didn't know how to love you. And so I did all of these things that I think caused you harm, and I'm just going to try to do my best to love you now. Like, no more saying mean things about you in my shares, and no more blaming you for what happened in my life. And the truth is that I have this beautiful life right now unfolding before my eyes, and I couldn't be here without the experiences that you gave me. And I burned the letter. I read it out loud at the shore. I burned the letter, and I spread it in the sea. And then I just started praying. It just came to me like, God, please help me love my mom the way that you loved my mom. And people since then, that was a week and 2 days ago, it was on Father's Day. It's June 26th now. And people have been telling me things about my mom, things that used to make me so angry. I used to get so angry when my mom was brought up as how I would get so angry when people would say, "You're so much like your mom, you're so much like your mom." And I would get angry and I'd be like, I'm my own person, like let me be my own person. And I had a family reunion 2 days ago and people were telling me how much like my mom I was, and I just got to say like, thanks. I didn't know that she liked to run around barefoot, and it's good to know that because I think that's cool, and that was a really beautiful experience. So those are my thoughts and my experiences that I've had as a result of reading this literature, and thank you for listening.